literally write down the timestamps of when that dog barks
Oh gosh, she's been the worst today.
because like I can't handle it.
She's been so bad today. She ate a dead mouse she didn't eat it. She just picked it up with her mouth and tried to run from me.
That's disgusting.
She chased birds. She wouldn't listen to anything I fucking said today. I wish you could see her face right now. She's like,
The moments that I love not having a pet.
no, I called my mom and was like, so I understand that dogs eat animals like in the wildlife, but she for not even 5 seconds had a dead animal in her mouth. And I was like, I can't think about kissing her. How am I ever supposed to kiss her again? What do I do now? And I gave her a bunch of water. I immediately came home and brushed her teeth. I took like a wet wipe and cleaned her. Like I did the whole thing immediately because I could not handle it. I gave her another
Oh,
greenie. I did everything.
dude, I swear, like that makes me think about having kids. I was talking about it the other day.
Oh
I was
God.
like, your kid just like shits itself all the time.
Hmm.
And then like it's not like a poop. It's like
Oh, and
explodes. And then
what's it
they'll
called? The
spread it
first
on the
poop they do?
walls.
Oh God.
And like you have to just clean it. And you know what? I feel like I'm better with sorry, this is graphic. I'm gonna stop. What do you mean? What's the first poop called?
Well, do you not know, like the baby's first couple times they poop, it's like disgusting black tar, like getting all the stuff out from it's like
Yeah,
not
because they
real
were
poop.
just in your
It's like called something.
uterus for 9 months.
We don't need
Oh,
to talk about poop.
I
Well,
will say though, and this I will say about poop. If you don't own a squatty potty,
yeah, I love your squatty potties. I need to get one.
you notice team how she
Yeah.
just said potties plural.
Oh, multiple. Both bathrooms.
There's a multiple. Both
They're
bathrooms have one.
the
They're
best part of
always
your
out
bathrooms.
unless you're a boy that comes over. And I put them away. And you know what? I feel like I'm not going to put them away anymore
I don't
because
know
like
why you put them away. Everyone
just make
has
them
them.
have a healthy poop.
Yeah, exactly. You're helping your guests out, quite frankly.
It's even comfortable when you're peeing as a lady
Yeah, well, I'm a
or
shrimp
men
boat, so my it's always
sitting
like my
down.
toes touch the ground, but I feel like my full feet never do, so it's much more comfortable.
There you go.
There you
Use code Gappy. Imagine.
go. What if we made TMV branded squatty potties as our first merch? Honestly, on
I-
brand.
On brand. It's so sad that my brain never goes to anything exciting. I'm like, this is gonna be so expensive.
Yeah, these costs, whatever. It's fine.
Welcome back.
To the self-funded TMV that you love so much.
If only you could see what my office looked like right now, so that we could
Anarchy
be
and
producing
chaos.
this. I'm having my first coffee of the day, and it's 2:18. I have a stress ball on the other hand,
That's rough.
and
I've
we're
had 2
doing.
coffees today already, so Godspeed.
The day just got away from me. I
Mm.
really felt like a chic, soccer mom today. I went to Pilates, and then I
You did
came
have a very
home.
LA kind of day.
I got a
Uh-huh.
smoothie at Sun Life, and then I came home, showered, ran to get my nails done, and then got home at 1, ate lunch, and now I'm having my coffee, and now we're sitting here, but look how cute the nails are.
Glorious.
Now we can
I
show
Do
people
you
because
know
we're
how
on
blurry
YouTube.
this is for me? I can't see it at all.
Well, the peoples can see.
They look cute from the blur that I can see.
I know. They're really cute, and if you're listening and want to see what my nails look like, go to our YouTube because we're on there now.
We're on YouTube now. We also have started putting on makeup to kind of come across as socially presentable. Well, started. I should say I started. You take care of your appearance. I feel like I do
No,
not in
no,
this podcast.
you can lump me into that one.
Yeah.
Lump me right in there, girl.
Both of us are trying to like be a little bit cuter today, and then 5 minutes ago I sprayed lemon juice in my eyes. So all around, just a gorgeous Tuesday.
Meadow, you sound like a robot to me right now because your Wi-Fi is so bad, or my Wi-Fi is so bad, one of the two. So
It
like
says full bars. Fucking
mine
hell.
too. It's fine. But yes, we're trying to look it's just I watched our first episode of season 2 and I was just horrified.
Same, truly.
My hair was so
Because
greasy.
we're not used to we forget that we're videoing them now because we are always looking at each other. So it always feels like we're video chatting, but we forget that it's now videos in the ether.
Yeah.
There is I have it on my phone. I made Kay, the person that edits all our stuff, take it out. But there was like a full 30 seconds of our last episode where
I don't
Gabby's
know why
talking.
you had them take it
And
out. It
I
was
was like
so
this.
funny.
Just
I
stare
wish you
it
would have left it in.
when I first saw that, I cried, like,
Ow, I just
on
hit
my
my tooth.
knees crying, laughing. I heard it, and I showed Aaron, and he was like, "It's not that funny," and I was like, "It's actually the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life."
I thought it was hilarious.
I just feel like because he's not us, he's not recording with us, he's like, "Yeah, you're spacing out, whatever." Oh, it was so fucking
You
funny.
literally, I
Maybe I'll
wish it
post
would have
it.
stayed. Just like when Gabby talks,
Yeah,
you looking like a zombie.
I'll post it on Patreon,
God, we have a Patreon too.
and we're posting some fun stuff on there, so head on over if you
Head on
haven't already.
over. There's
Are those
tiers listed
tiers are
out.
decked out, by the way. I've been looking at other people's Patreons and I was like, I think I went too hard. Like we're offering so much extra content, dude.
It's really good, but that's
It's a
just like
lot.
the way that you and I are.
Yeah, that's true.
So it
That's
like
true.
kind of checks out. Oh my god, what a beautiful transition because it's 2:22 right now.
Oh,
So we
I'm
were
wearing
thinking
it.
about what we wanted to talk about today, and Meadow and I were not normally the way that we do this. If anybody is curious whatsoever, I'm sure none of you are, but in the off chance that you are, normally when we film solo episodes, we will keep a list on our phones of like things that we're unpacking and then just kind of lump together a bunch of them and be like, oh, let's just chat about XYZ.
Mhm.
Yesterday, I text Meadow, I'm like, I have no idea what I want to talk about.
Meanwhile, I was like told you that I couldn't record yesterday because I was having a full mental breakdown and was like, I don't want to unpack from a wound, so we're gonna have to figure something out.
So she had this great idea and she was like, let's talk about manifestation because, well, for so many reasons. One, I feel like I've been talking to you. I mean, you and I talk about manifestation. Whoa, was that a quick sentence
Words?
that just came out of my mouth?
The
You
coffee's
and I,
hitting.
you guys are going to watch it in real time, me become unhinged. You and I talk about manifestation all the time. We do it in our own lives. We chat about it. All we do is DM each other videos on
Yep,
TikTok about it
constantly.
constantly. And the other day, I literally sent you a real life text out of nowhere. Like, I wish you guys could just see my text with Meadow because sometimes they're so random. We were not talking. And I texted you, when you manifest, are you supposed to
Oh,
feel
yeah,
the
I remember.
emotion that you want to feel or like visualize it or like both? And I'm pretty sure that's verbatim what I said to you out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
yeah. And didn't I
And
answer immediately with thoughtful feedback?
you always answer with thoughtful
Thank you.
feedback.
Thank you. Thank
Notice
you.
how I didn't say immediately because sometimes Meadow will literally go
Oh, I
a
did. I
full
never
24
text back
hours.
immediately. Immediately to me means 24 hours.
I feel like I have to have a work phone for you so that if I ping you from my work phone, it means answer me.
But the second I can afford two phones, I'm going to be two phone baby Keem in a heartbeat. Are you kidding? Like without a doubt.
Because like
Without a
I
doubt.
just
Well, I just
sometimes
need
I'm
an
like, I
assistant.
actually need an answer and she
Yeah.
doesn't answer.
You know what's funny? I need a carbon copy of you as my assistant. Like a mini, if anyone's a mini Gabby out there and wants to work pro bono, I'll pay you eventually. But
um we should get walkie-talkies.
oh my God. Or just cups with strings.
To San Diego?
Come on.
I'm
We're
into it.
witchy enough it would work. Anyway, so we decided to talk about manifestation today. And the true reason is because one, we love it. Two, it's fucking everywhere. And we've been talking about, obviously, we talk about and reference TikTok all the time, but I think you and I both each have like two niche TikTok for you page algorithms where like yours feeds you dating ones and mine feeds me manifestation ones. And you and I will just be like, this is so fucking wrong. Like sometimes they're so funny,
Yeah.
and other times we're like, I am watching this imbue the culture and be completely like misinformation, wrong, not
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
nuanced,
yeah,
one
yeah.
sided, whatever. And so we were like, you know what, manifestation, people are talking about it a lot. I may be working on a secret project about it that's going to come out soon. So stay tuned for that. But needless to say, I feel like I'm a fucking genius at it. And I have felt that way since I was 17. And so we're going to unpack it, what it
We're
really
gonna
is.
unpack it. And like I feel like okay, Meadow is a fucking genius at it and she's been taking so many courses and like learning so much about it. And I feel like I fell into the category of, well, here's the thing, personal anecdote, right? I feel like growing up, I definitely like heard about this. I was a big vision board gal. You know what I mean?
Woo! Okay,
Like,
let's go there. Yeah.
I was a big vision
Yeah.
board. I always had that, like, giant cork board in my room with, like, a bunch of pictures of, like, the Olsen twins and, like, girls smoking cigarettes, and I
I
was
had a
like, "I'm
magazine
gonna work
wall.
in fashion," and, like, "I'm going to
Yeah.
work at Vogue," and, like, that's what my wall looked like.
Uh-huh. Well, that's do you remember though? Do you remember when that was a thing? Because I had the magazine wall where you would just tear out pages and your entire
Yeah.
wall would be yeah, of course, yeah. Everyone our
You
age.
know which ad I had, like, ripped out? Because do you remember
Oh,
when it
no.
went, like, viral on, like, Tumblr? The no, 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 it's not a no, no, it's a great
Oh,
one.
okay, oh,
It
okay.
was when Joan Didion did the Celine campaign with the sunglasses. Do you
I don't
remember?
remember.
You'll know the photo if I send it
I'll
to you,
look it
but
up. I'll look it
anyway,
up. Of
I had that, like, pasted on my
course
wall.
you did.
But I was a big vision boarder and didn't really know that that was called manifestation at the
Mhm.
time. My
Mhm.
mom really got me into that, and I feel like you
Mhm.
do it in school, you know what I mean? Like, they, like, have you do that and, like, camp and shit, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Or is that
I
just,
don't
like, a
remember if I did
stupid
that in
private school
camp.
thing?
Yeah, it
Mm.
might have been a stupid private school thing. I can't really remember that in my shitty, dumb public education.
I
Just
know,
kidding.
I,
My
like,
public
taught
education was lit in San Diego, actually.
that's the thing, Florida public education is
Yeah,
trash.
San Diego's is honestly lit.
Anywho's, so I used to vision board, and that was, I guess, manifestation without or, like, the planting the seed of the idea of not manifestation because we don't wanna confuse what it actually is, but it was planting the seed of, like, what it is to try and get to your goals by seeing them in front of you every day.
Mm. Mhm.
I think that and I've always really believed in it, and I always kind of felt crazy because, like, I always believed in it, and the people around me kind of were like, "You're a weirdo," and it really
Mhm.
wasn't until, like, it's become more mainstream to, like, talk about manifestation slash, like, I had friends now that, like, talk about it, that I'm, like, fine openly talking about it, and obviously now it's, like, such a cultural thing, but I think there's a really big misconception that I want you to elaborate on, like, what it actually is, because I feel like, speaking from personal experience, I had someone in my life who literally thought that manifestation was putting something on a vision board, and if you don't read it every single day, it's not going to happen, and became so literal with it, and it was so infuriating to
It was
watch.
infuriating to be around. Sorry.
It's not me, by the
Did my
way.
face just give away who it was?
We're not talking about me.
No. Oh my god, no, it was not you.
No, 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 it was not me,
No.
but they were
It was, someone from your past.
yeah, and it was really infuriating because it almost, like, belittles what you're doing, but it's also, like, are you
No, it's
that
not real. It was spiritual bypassing and fear mongering. None of it was fucking real.
and it was, like, detaching like, are you that detached from reality that, like, you think that, like, staring at a dollar amount is, like, it's just gonna you're gonna go to sleep and it's gonna fucking wake up in your account?
But that's
So
what people think. People think manifestation
exactly.
is so fucking woo woo and so this and so that. And I'm like,
So
manifestation is
explain it.
non denominational. It's not religious. It's not spiritual. I think there's a spiritual aspect that comes to it, and I'll get into it later. But the actual act of it is literally psychology meets neuroplasticity and epigenetics. Like it's actually,
Explain
it's
what epigenetics are because, I don't even know what that is.
okay. So psychology is personal development and mental health. Neuroplasticity is the idea that our brain can form new neural pathways. So it's as simple as when I go to the dog park with Mahal, if I take the lap to the left around every single time, and then one day all of a sudden I go to the right, or if I take a new route
Mhm,
home on my way home from work,
mhm.
you're forming new neural pathways in your brain, and it's called neuroplasticity. So it's
Sick.
just trying new things, forming new neural pathways. It's the way all of us could get fucked up in college and still have a brain in our 30s
It's also
because
the
we
way
can
that you
actually use our
form
brains.
it's the way you
Ways
form new behaviors.
exactly. And then epigenetics is the idea, it's like the same idea of how we can pass down generational trauma. So it's the idea that things that happen in your environment can affect your DNA and that can be passed down. Or you can also reverse that with working on yourself, and with this neuroplasticity you can like reverse and be the break in the generational trauma cycle.
Mhm,
So epigenetics is going through something in your environment that then affects your DNA. So those three concepts combined is actually what manifestation is. Because so I similar to you, the first time I ever heard about it was actually my therapist. And when I was 17, going through all my shit, this fucking M is literally because it was like a manifestation tattoo. It was a whole thing because she introduced me to The Secret and the law of attraction, which is what I feel like if you were old enough, in 2007 when The Secret came out. That was
Mhm.
like the biggest fucking spiritual whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's very much like your old friend's idea of manifestation, which has just completely fucking harmed the community to this day. But so the law of attraction and the whole secret that people thought they were getting into when they got into manifestation was the idea of what you put out into the world is what comes back to you. And to a certain extent, we believe
Right.
that.
Because we believe in energies, and at least what I believe with that is that when I feel like we all vibrate on certain frequencies,
Totally.
and your vibrate what you put out is what you're getting back, right?
Right.
Like if you're vibrating on this frequency, you're realistically going to be met with people who are on that same frequency.
Right.
I
You're going
also
to
believe in
attract
karma.
the same. Right. I
Mhm.
do too. I do too. However, when people are doing the vision boards and people are doing the staring at the $11 million, and when people are doing all that thing and doing no fucking you're laughing because of how specifically I remember that exact number. Yeah, I told you it bothered me. Do you see the look in my eyes? I remember everything
The
about those
way that my
conversations.
coffee just went all over my white
Yeah.
cow.
Uh, yeah.
Wow. Tell me how you really feel. Keep going.
Uh-huh. 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 Really, we've been holding it in for a while just out of niceties. Anyway, the truth behind all of it, it's literally the exact same shit that you talk about when you talk about self-awareness with no action. If you're gonna just
Mhm.
look at something every day and willfully, ignorantly try to call something into your life without doing any internal work on yourself, you're never gonna get there, baby. Because
Mhm.
here's the deal. Manifestation in my head is the process of like chasing your dreams. It's knowing what your goals are.
Mhm.
It's knowing how to take those opportunities when they come to you. It's having a high enough self-worth. Self-worth is like a huge component here, and we'll get into it. It's having a high enough self-worth to like hold boundaries when something that's not completely aligned comes up, or truly believe in yourself to not be self-sabotagey or blah blah blah. And when self-worth comes in, there's a lot of like inner child work or shadow work or all these other places where you have to kind of look at. And then you're just kind of like going through that rigmarole of like understanding what you want in life, being willing to take opportunities, not being attached to the outcome, and being willing to understand that the
Fuck
universe may
yes,
present you
Deepak
something better,
Chopra.
and then working on yourself to help get you there. So I guess we should probably say too, because we talked a lot of shit on TikTok, the resources that we do like that I'm drawing almost all of my information from is kind of a lot of spiritual teachers like Deepak Chopra, Eckhart
Mhm.
Tolle, Ram Dass.
Mhm.
But the main person that I've like really appreciated their dive into the psychology behind manifestation is Lacey Phillips and the To Be Magnetic program. I think she has like categorically changed how we talk about manifestation and psychology's role. Like she gets actual psychologists and researchers on her team to explain these steps and what's happening. And then she gets a little woo woo with it and feels like she's intuitive and energetic and kind of Anna Maria about it. But you don't fucking have to be. You don't have to be. They're separate
Right.
ball games.
This is our official plea to get Lacey Phillips on the podcast.
Oh, I would die. She's my dream episode, please, if anyone's listening. Okay, now the reason why I think spirituality comes into play is because if you remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
Mhm.
the triangle, safety and security is on the bottom, like food, safety,
Mhm.
shelter, and then you work your way up.
Mhm.
I think as you manifest things, and so a lot of them can be material, especially if you're broke and you want to just survive in this world and not be in a fight or flight mode all the time. Like, I think a lot of material stuff comes through. The second you get them, you realize that's not what the fuck the world is about and it didn't solve any of your problems. And then you immediately up level to that next hierarchy. So I
Mhm.
think people end up having like a spiritual awakening or like spiritual realizations as they're moving up and up on the manifestation. Cause as you get what you want on those bottom tiers, you realize that's not at all what life is about and you just move your way up. So I
Right.
think I think that's why it gets conflated so much of the time. But I think the actual act of manifestation, we really got to separate from the spiritual community to some extent because it's
Well,
kind of turning
because
people off.
that's what I was about to say. I feel like people dismiss it so much, and I wanted you to talk about this because you just gave us so much good information, and there was like a whole lot in there, and I want to break down some of it.
Sure.
And by the way, when she mentioned the releasing your attachment to the outcome, I want to circle back to that, and I want to talk about the whole concept of like, because I feel like I cracked the code with that one recently, but where I
Ooh.
learned that is Deepak Chopra's seven spiritual laws
Yes.
to success or of success.
Yes.
It is literally an 100-page, if that,
Right.
handbook. And the first time I read it, I did it when I took mushrooms, and it was the best experience of my entire
Oh,
life.
In Palm Springs?
Yeah, I was in Joshua Tree and it was
Joshua Tree.
a moment.
Wow.
But I reference it a lot, and the chapter that I come back to often is that one because I think that is
Mhm.
the fucking key to life. So I want to
Yeah, it
unpack
is.
that later.
Yeah,
But
it
you
is.
said something that I want to talk about when we're talking about skeptics, since you're saying that detaching it from the spiritual community will probably make the concept more inviting because there's
Mhm.
science behind it.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm
What would
also
you
like, I
say?
wanna get into that science so badly. I think that's where my career is gonna go in the end, just throwing that out there, by the way.
I think it will too. I think
Yeah.
it will too. W Oh, 2 things I just thought of. I'm, like, here taking notes in my brain.
That coffee's
Alright.
kicking in, baby. Here she
I know
goes.
you
I'm
guys are
seeing
watching it
it.
in real
Okay.
time. Okay, first question I have for you is what would you say to skeptics who because I have friends like this.
Mhm.
I have a friend who, like, every time I talk about, like, anything
Mhm.
that is remotely anything, takes a giant shit on my head, and I love her to death, and she
Mhm.
knows who she is if she's listening. She's definitely not. But
She's definitely not.
she's definitely not. She has more important things to do. But, like, what would you say to skeptics who are like, "Well, if you're putting in the work, then, like, that's not manifestation, like, that's not the universe doing shit, like, that's literally just you."
Okay, I have a really good example.
Mhm,
Uh, this example I am stealing from Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul, which I've on this podcast claimed to be one of my favorite books for anxious people, people that like suffer from feelings of anxiety or anxiety disorders. Also releasement from the outcome, but it was the idea
mhm,
that like you could have a boyfriend in high school, break up with them, and then years later be in the car with your family driving to the beach, and all of a sudden you see their car and like and it's not their car, you know what I mean? But it's like the
mhm,
car that they had in
mhm,
high school, and all of a sudden you think it's them, and it can like change your whole day. And then you see them looking like they're hugging someone, and it looks like the person they cheated on you with, and like it spirals you out. So the whole idea of like when you date someone and you start seeing their cars everywhere, or you think it's them, and blah blah blah. I believe that you co-create with the universe. So I believe that like the universe will continue to present you with opportunities over and over again for the lesson that you're currently trying to learn until you fucking learn it. So I
mhm,
think that's why people like understanding our patterns of behavior and how people fall into the same cycles and same patterns. It's like, okay, you're trying to learn something and move through and break this cycle,
mhm,
the world is going to throw that same cycle at you over and over and over until you break it and until you
mhm,
prove it because they're trying to help you learn the lessons.
mhm.
I truly believe that the universe is trying to help us learn lessons and
I
trying to
agree.
help us be our best self. And that's why I believe that our life mission statements are just to show up as your authentic self. It's not what you do, it's not who you are, it's not what you accomplish, it's just to be yourself every day. And I think the
Mhm.
universe always wants to present opportunities to help you be yourself. But
Yeah,
every person
100%.
has some shit they've been through, and every person's trying to like look at their patterns and understand what's going on and move through them and learn them. And that's why if you ever feel stuck or like the same shit, like if you have some weird thing, maybe I'm projecting. The first idea that comes to my mind is boundaries. If you have some weird
Mm,
things with boundaries, and then you start noticing that people are treating you the same way at your job, in your relationship, in your family, in your friend group, and you're noticing the same pattern over and over again, it's because you're not learning that lesson on boundaries to implement it. So it's going to present to you in every aspect of life until you learn the lesson. Am I beating a dead horse? Have I said that too many times or does it make sense?
no, it makes complete sense. I think a lot of people don't or don't know the word co-create, and that when you explained that concept to me a while ago, that is when and I think the conversation first happened when the whole, you know, person in my life with the vision board
She
happened,
goes,
and yeah. You're also frozen for me, which is so frustrating because I can't actually
ah,
see your in the real-time reactions, but
I'll circle back.
that's when we okay, you're back now. That's
Okay.
when you explained to me the concept of co-creating, and I think it brought so much peace into
Mm.
my life because that is did we talk about the science of it, or did you wanna get into that a little bit more?
Well, finish your thought and then we can.
Okay, thanks. But it was that was when it that clicked for me so much with the concept of releasing your attachment to the outcome, and if that because that is not a phrase that I was familiar with either before I read it, so to explain it, it's basically saying, like, you are allowed to have dreams, right? You're allowed
Duh.
let's say I want this,
Mhm.
okay? I want this, and I'm right now at point A, and I'm trying to figure out how to get to point B. I know I wanna get to point B. I think it's like I don't know what law it is in the book, but detaching from the outcome essentially means you are releasing how you get from point A to point B. and you're,
Mhm.
like, kind of allowing the universe to do it. You're like, "I know
And
I
also
wanna get to
kinda
point
what
B."
point B looks like.
Yeah. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, you know you want this,
Mhm.
but you're sort of releasing your attachment to the outcome of, like, how you get there, what the
Mhm.
outcome exactly is going to look like, because realistically, that's never gonna be the way that it turns out, and if you're
Mhm.
so obsessively, at least in my experience, if you're as an obsessive person who likes to spiral, if you are so obsessing over one concept and one exact outcome, you're cutting yourself off from the opportunities that the universe is trying to present you with.
That could possibly be far better for you.
Far
I also
better.
think what you said is so important of like understanding that, okay, I want this point, I want point B, but then doing the deeper work. That's where like
Mhm.
kind of more of the mental health side of things come in is being like, okay, so say I want $11 million dollars a year. Let's just use that old friends example. Okay, what's the root of why I want that? Do I actually want the number 11
Mhm.
or do I just think that that's the number that allows me the freedom to live in a life I want and then play around in my day-to-day schedule and be
Mhm.
flexible enough that I can like build better things that I think are going to help the world. Like finding like going deeper beyond I want just these random material things and understanding who you are. Like in Lacey Phillips, they call it your authentic code. So, like, truly understanding who you are, what your molar values are, and
Mhm.
how what you're going for is supporting truly what you want at the end of the day on a deeper level
Mhm.
allows you one to get there quicker because you're showing yourself how important it is to you, and
Mhm.
then two, it helps you release attachment from the outcome because you're like, okay, I know the goal of me wanting this money is just because I want the freedom. So how I get that money, how it comes about, whatever number it is, like all of that may be different and that may be fine because at the end
Mhm.
of the day, it's the freedom that I'm after.
Right. And releasing that sense of control, because by the way, you can do this with people, like we all
Yes.
know that I'm the single one here, so I talk a lot about relationships, and like this can be done with people. And
Yes.
like I think that's often when I mean, I spiral about a lot of things, but like it's really easy to spiral about people and you can't control them. You can't control it.
Mhm.
And just releasing that and knowing that
Mhm.
you can only control what's in your control
Mhm.
has released so much anxiety from my life
Mhm.
that, like, I just hope that people that are practicing manifestation, it actually helps you do it correctly, because then it helps you actually release that anxiety instead of building more because you're, like, not
Dude,
co-creating and you're not getting what you want.
my favorite Ram Dass quote of all time is you can do it like it's a great weight on you, or you can do it like it's part of the dance. And
Mm,
to me, that's the same thing as
that's
saying
so
choosing the
pretty.
or. Isn't that beautiful? But
Mhm.
the whole point is like, okay, you're going to get to point B, but right now you're here.
Mhm.
So while you're getting there, you can choose to do it like it's the fucking weight of the world, or you could just fucking dance, do it like it's part of the dance and jive with it and
Mhm.
get there when you get there.
Fuck yeah, I love that.
Okay, let's
Okay.
get into the neuroplasticity bit.
Yes, please.
So the idea of the neuroplasticity. Okay, so we've identified what we want. We've really looked at it and journaled about it and thought about our authentic code and understood like what the root is of why we want that thing. We've released the attachment to the outcome.
Mhm.
Now we're also simultaneously addressing like if our self-worth isn't there, like do I have some inner child memory that left me feeling a certain type of way, so now I can't go after this one thing. You know what I mean? You're
Mhm,
doing
mhm,
that kind of
mhm.
therapy work to work through certain blocks you have to feel like you're worthy enough of having what you want. Then the neuroplasticity piece is really important because you want to show your brain that the thing that you want is possible for yourself. So the way you can do
Mhm.
that is by finding examples. So that's why I think it's really fun when people talk about manifestation or fun to talk about what they wanted or the certain influencers that you and I are drawn to. We have a group chat of 5 of our best girlfriends and there's 5 influencers that we all really like that we literally look at when they go on vacation together and are like that's about to be us. And I
Mhm.
think the reason why it will be is because we each see part of ourselves in them and in their stories and what they have now is what we're working towards. And when we can see part of ourself in someone else and see how they got the thing we want, it proves to our brain and forms new neural pathways through neuroplasticity that that is possible for us too. It's the idea,
Yeah.
oh my God, you know what it is? It's when no one could break the 4-minute mile or 5-minute mile or whatever it was. And then the
Mhm.
day someone did it, within 6 months, like 40 other people did it or
Right.
whatever.
Exactly.
Obviously,
Exactly.
I exaggerate. No one quote me on the exact numbers, but that
No, but
same concept is
that's the
literally,
exact concept.
that's the exact concept.
That's God, and that's exactly where the first place that my brain went to. It went to 2 things. Number 1, and I don't wanna get too tangential, but number 1 is it immediately went to, like, this is why it's so fucking important to do the work on yourself, because if you
Ugh.
don't actually believe that you deserve anything,
hmm
fuck
hmm
manifestation.
Oh,
Like,
no. Oh, that's why I fucking hate affirmations. You're going to sit there and look in the mirror and just tell yourself you're worth it over and over again, but then like never go
no.
to therapy and unpack the like who said what to you to figure out why you had that kind of core belief about yourself and then break through that. Like it's not going to happen, babe.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
Keep
mm-mm.
going.
We love bridge statements over
We
here.
love bridge statements. Do you want to re explain in case someone hasn't listened to a past
Yeah.
episode and doesn't
A
remember?
bridge statement is essentially, again, don't quote me. I learned this from
The
a
one thing
psychologist.
that Gabby's old therapist taught her.
I
She
don't
just
even,
wasn't the
no, it
best.
wasn't even my old therapist. It was someone I
Oh,
interviewed for a
wasn't it?
story. It was a therapist I interviewed for
Oh,
a story that I was writing.
I thought it was the old
Um,
therapist.
no, and it's basically introducing the concept of a possibility.
hmm
So instead of looking in the mirror, let's say I look in the mirror every day and I think I'm like the ugliest thing on planet Earth. I'm not going to look in the mirror one day and be like, I'm beautiful and be like,
And feel it
correct.
from the inside
And
out.
feel it from
Right.
the inside out. Like, I'm gonna be like, "You're fucking lying,
Yeah.
you idiot."
Right.
Bridge statements, you introduce the possibility. So you look at yourself in the mirror, you say, "It's possible that I'm not the ugliest person on the planet."
It's
And you,
possible.
like, you meet yourself halfway, right?
Meet yourself where you're at.
Meet yourself where you're at, and then that sort of helps you work up to it
Mhm.
because, like,
It's
eh
kinda like motivational interviewing yourself.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like that's why it's like, yeah, fake it till you make it to, like, some
Mhm.
way, but at the
Mhm.
same time,
Mhm.
it's like, if you're not
But
doing the
doing the deeper
actual.
work behind it at the same time.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that was like tangent number 1. Tangent number 2, which is a quicker tangent, but it's just immediately where my brain went when you said that is like seeing is believing is you cannot be what you cannot see. And this is what breaks my heart about the lack of resources in this country in
That was a bummer.
particular,
Mhm.
because you have kids that are growing up in neighborhoods that like they don't know that you could work in marketing because they don't know what marketing
Mhm.
is. They don't know that you
Mhm.
could work in whatever. It's like they might see these 3 things as jobs because that's what they see around them. That's what
Mhm.
they grew up with, but they don't see anything else. So how the fuck are they supposed to know that it exists because they don't
How?
have access to resources and education?
Aaron just went back to Alabama because he had a family member pass away,
Mhm.
and we've been talking about it a lot because just every time you go, you realize how much of an information and resource desert his specific town is. Like,
Mhm.
there is nothing there to the point that like, yeah, there's no fucking way people are like getting access to this information because there's nothing around them in their day-to-day lives to like offer them the possibility that something else out there
Right.
exists.
Mhm.
Which is why I always think like, okay, here we are getting tangential again, but this is why like cancel culture and like the difference between maliciousness and ignorance, and like ignorance of someone
Yeah.
that's like purposefully not seeking information versus ignorance of someone that just like has never been taught and like doesn't know.
Mhm.
Like there's just so much
There's so
fucking
much
nuance to
nuance.
all of this.
There's so much fucking nuance.
Nuance in the gray, like not being gray is you and I's fucking favorite thing on the planet.
Yeah. Right. And also we all know that with cancel culture, the people that are screaming it the loudest are the ones that are truly that
Yeah,
way themselves and are so insecure about it that like
exactly.
anyway, circling
Okay.
back to what we're actually talking about.
So in our timeline, we've understood who we are and what we want.
Mhm.
We're learning our patterns of behavior and addressing like underlying issues that we're going through. Maybe we're doing it with a therapist. Maybe we're doing it by listening to TMV and journaling a lot, whatever way we're trying to do our own personal development, addressing those like limiting beliefs, shadow self, inner child, self worth, all that jazz. We're also expanding our subconscious and our brain to believe that things are possible for us. Another really fun way, the way that Lacey Phillips does it that I think is really cool is because a lot of it is that like neuro baseline brain health subconscious kind of vibe.
Mhm.
She uses EMDR as a modality to do that. So they
Explain
have
EMDR.
eye movement, eye movement, depersonalization, rapid something. It's EMDR is a therapy modality that reprograms typically traumatic events to a different part of your brain. So it's not so you have the full memory of it and the full understanding of it, but it's not so triggering anymore to where you can like look at it, address it, and move on. So
Mhm.
my brother and my mom have both done EMDR. My brother did it for addiction and it did not work at all. My mom did it for trauma. Like after my dad died, my mom had this thing where my mom and dad used to always love holding hands. Have I talked about this on the pod? I feel like I did.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. My mom and dad loved to hold hands. And then my dad died. And my mom was so mad because she was supposed to grow old with someone and she didn't get to because he died earlier than expected. And so anytime she would see an old couple holding hands, it would
Oh.
like, infuriate her. She was like, I literally want to like hit them with my car. Like it was like an
Mhm.
irrational anger. And she went to do EMDR for that and went to one session, was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever done. And on the drive home, saw someone holding hands. It was like, oh, someone's holding hands and kept driving. And then by the next light was like, whoa, what the fuck? So, you can
Mhm.
go for a myriad of different things. But what's cool about Lacey Phillips is that they have a program where she'll explain to you step by step a lot of these processes. You journal about them, think about them, and then they lead you through a guided meditation where rather than doing the eye movement, it's
Mhm.
tones going back and forth between
Cool.
each ears. So the reason why they do a light that moves your eyes is because it's the same idea as like REM when your eyes are going
Mhm,
back and forth in
mhm.
your sleep. So you can move your eyes to a certain pattern while someone is prompting you about certain things about your traumatic past to help you kind of like reprogram. So like I've done one where you literally reparent yourself. It's like self hypnosis, which
Yeah.
hypnosis, once again, is not like a magician or whatever fucking hypnotizing you and making you do weird shit like senior year when Sarah Shakui got hypnotized.
Dude, we should do an
It's
entire fucking episode just like debunking random bullshit that people say.
honestly like hypnosis is literally that state of like, when you're kind of like zoning out or in a flow state or about to fall asleep, it's just that state of your brain that is more malleable. So you can like
Mhm.
help yourself work through old things. So like it was having me think about something in your inner child and then who did you need to show up there to make you feel better and like reimagining the scenario playing out in a different way and doing the tones at the same time to kind of reprogram that in your brain. So we're expanding our subconscious. We're doing it through different modalities. Then you gotta fucking practice. Because, like I said, you can do all this work, but then the universe is gonna throw you shit over and over and over till you learn. And the universe is fucking smart because you'll figure out one piece about it. So then it'll like give you the next step up the stair, but it's not quite where you wanna be. But it is the next step. And you gotta figure out like, am I testing a boundary? Is this not exactly what I want? Or is this a bridge, like a bridge statement to get to what I want? So you got to practice, practice, practice. And that's kind of the fucking formula until you hit it.
Um, can I just say you're a fucking genius. Like I've been
Oh, thank God.
I've
I
been
literally,
listening
as
to
I'm
you.
talking, was like, does any of this make sense?
No, 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 no. I have been listening to you and
Ah,
like God, Meadow is just so fucking smart. And
thanks.
you just you
You are too.
explain things in such a clear and concise way, which is so extremely helpful. And I learned so much from you. And it's so cool to like see how excited you get to talk about things and like
Yeah,
how
I love this shit.
you're no, but you're just like a wealth of knowledge.
Dude, you know what? Because I fucking love learning. I love stuff. I was such a fucking student. Like school was my shit. I hated homework. I hated teachers. I
Mhm.
didn't show up. But like learning about things and doing things and having homework and
Right.
research, I fucking love that shit.
Good
Tell
to
me your
hear
mom's
you.
a teacher without telling me your mom's a
I
teacher.
know, seriously. I did wanna talk about one clarification though,
But
because I
also, thank
feel
you very
like
much. I really enjoyed all of those compliments. Thank you.
You're so welcome. There is a girl on YouTube. I cannot remember her name. I think we have sent each other her videos before,
Hmm.
and she does a lot of stuff about manifesting, particularly when it comes to money. And
I think it's Edia. Is it like Edia ASMR? Edia ASMR?
I don't believe it's an ASMR.
EDIY ASMR?
No, I don't fucking know. Or whatever.
Whatever.
I will find this
We'll
person, and I
find them.
think I'm also just combining a bunch of people in my brain right now to be really fair. Um,
As we do.
yeah, because like you fall down one YouTube rabbit hole and you're on a
Game
playlist
over
next
for
thing you
us.
know.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
exactly.
But I want to talk about this because I feel like we glossed over it a little bit and I want
Okay.
to reiterate the importance just because I know how much it's helped me in
Mm,
my personal manifestation journey, and that's the concept of actually sitting in the feeling of what it will feel like once you have what you want,
mm,
because I think that's connected to what you were saying before of truly believing in your core that you deserve what you want
mhm,
and what you're asking for.
mhm.
Part of that, and I feel like that's part I don't want to I don't understand. I don't know the science behind it, but I feel like it has to make sense in my brain that if you can recognize a feeling, it's easier to get there.
Oh, totally. It's also just
Right.
the idea of like, okay, who is my like best self? Like if I picture like who I think my authentic and best self is and everything I want for myself in like 30,
Mhm.
40 years, and then thinking right now, what decision would she make? And it like
Right.
kind of helps you connect to that future version of what you want to be
Right.
and call that into place.
Exactly. And so I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of times with manifestation, it's really important to, for example, okay, let's say we're talking about love, right? Instead of just being like, I want a boyfriend. The difference is being like, is recognizing the feeling of when you are with a partner. Does it
Mhm.
feel warm? Does it
Mhm.
feel,
Heart expansive.
yes,
Does it
does
feel
it, do you
light?
feel calm? Do you
Mhm.
feel a sense of peace? And be specific with it.
Mhm. Where
And
in your body do you feel it?
literally, where
What
in
it
your
looks
body
like?
do you
What
feel it?
color is it?
Mhm.
Like, all of
For
that shit.
me, I do a lot of this at night when I'm going to sleep
That is
or
the
when
best
I'm
time to
waking
do it
up.
because your brain's in
Yeah.
that fucking state, dude.
Mhm.
Telling you.
Or when
Keep
you're
going.
waking up in the morning
Mhm.
because you're already like before I get out of bed in the morning, before I literally open my eyes, like my alarm goes off. So I guess I've opened my eyes to turn off the alarm if we're getting technical. But I sit and I have like one hand on heart, one hand on my stomach, and I
Mhm.
like do a breathe in. I do like a quick thank you, angels.
Mhm.
Like, let's talk to each other today. And then like if there is something that I'm like currently trying to manifest, like I breathe in that feeling.
Hell yeah.
I do the same thing when I fucking work
Hell
out,
yeah.
and this is why I love my Pilates teacher because, Laurel, shout out to you at Hot Pilates, I fucking love you, and she does that. She'll, like, have you do, like, a, "What are you trying to call in today?" type of a moment,
That's
but
sick.
I feel like this is a cool practice for people because even if you're not getting immediately to the outcome that you are desiring, you are getting to sort of trick your brain into feeling that feeling of, like, coziness or whatever that feeling is that you
Mhm.
wanna feel in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
It's like
so
a
true.
quicker,
Feelings are
I don't
yeah,
know,
it's like a quick way to kind of,
it's like a cheat
1,
code.
feel good, and 2, it's
Mhm.
like a cheat code. Also, feelings are just such a good hack because I also think feelings are this is also a tangent, but I just think feelings are kind of the best way to tap into empathy as well, because even if you can't
Mm,
understand why someone did something, we all have the same range of human emotion. And so like finding a different situation where you felt the same feeling, like I just feel like
mhm.
feelings are such a good hack to understand ourselves and others and place empathy or like goal set or try to get to that place you want to be, like you're saying.
Dude, and talk about language too, like how we talked about in our I think it was the finale for the vicious cycle.
Message from hiatus. Yeah.
Mhm. You brought up the concept of language and how limited it is, and I remember when I went to
Yeah.
Hoffman, they handed me a sheet
Oh,
that we all
yes.
had in our binder,
Yeah.
and every day we'd, like, start out talking about, like, how we were feeling, and if anybody said, like, "Good, fine, okay, sad, whatever," they literally made you go through this fucking feelings chart and get so I kinda wanna get it, I see it. Should I grab
No,
it?
no, please
Okay,
get
hold
it
on, hold
because
on, hold
I
on,
will
hold on.
tell yeah, you hold on. I will tell the audience. She explained this to us a couple episodes ago when we were talking about it, and then I was journaling about something the other day, and I just remember being so in my feels, and then I
Okay.
remember writing down, like, I am unhappy, and then being like, "Nope, can't say unhappy because Gabby just said get specific." I was telling the audience while you were gone about how
Mhm.
you and I, because we had just unpacked that the other day, I was journaling, and in my head, the first sentence that came was like, I just don't feel happy. And then I was like, that's not an adjective. Like, use a better adjective. You're a
Mhm.
writer. Gabby's Hoffman would come for you. Like, think about it. What are you actually feeling
No,
now? And I like
bitch,
worked through it. But that example truly helped me journal the other day.
look how fucking long this list
Let me
is.
see. Let me see. Let me see. Damn.
Yeah, and the
Let's
bottom
scan that and upload it to Patreon.
no, we fucking should, and the
Okay.
bottom, by the way, says body sensations. So you
Can
can
you read just a
attach,
couple ones? A couple cool
yeah,
ones?
so body sensations or feelings.
Both.
So, like, with feelings, they have bolded, like, the main ones. So, like, accepting, open, joy, angry,
Mm,
annoyed, courageous, powerful, and then, like, all
mm.
of like, under those, they have the ones that you might necessarily, um
Like different iterations.
yes, because
Yeah.
like, people just say, like, "Oh, I'm stressed." But,
Right.
like, are you overwhelmed? There's a difference between overwhelm and stress.
Yeah.
Are you just exhausted? Are you edgy? Like,
Right.
those are literally all the words here. With doubt and unsettled, there's inhibited, questioning, rejecting, reluctant,
Ooh.
shocked, skeptical, suspicious, ungrounded, right?
And then
Like,
as you say them, they all feel different.
they all feel different. So, like, some of the body sensations, we have gentle, hollow, Hollow was a big one that I used when I was at Hoffman. I felt hollow so
Wow.
much.
Wow.
Um, Vibrating,
That's a dream, like
wobbly,
mhm,
suffocated,
mhm,
stiff,
mhm.
sparkly, like
Oh, I feel sparkly.
spacious, you know?
Oh,
Anyway, we'll take a picture of this, of the
cool.
feelings list, and we'll upload it to Patreon because
God,
it is so fucking
Hoffman,
helpful.
shout
I'm gonna
out.
take a I know, I'm gonna make, like, I feel like I should make it my background, like, take a picture and
Oh, that's so cute. You should.
mhm.
I love it.
But yeah, just attaching the way that your body physically feels, I feel like is such a good manifestation tool. And also just like it's a really cool way to get in tune with your actual body because I feel like we
Mm.
just forget that like this is ours, right? Like this is just the fucking meat suit that we're walking around in. But
Dead
like
ass.
it's ours. And I feel like we
And it's how we tap
forget.
into this space. You know what I mean? Like how we
Mhm.
use our the mind body connection is so wild, and we could do a whole episode about it. It's absolutely nuts. But it is how like we are little cute little soul light beings. But this human meat suit is how we interact and connect with everything. It's like how we're picking up information and learning. It's
Yeah.
just
I mean, meat suit's a crazy phrase, but like I think it's so funny. I
me
think about it
too.
all the time. Every time I look at, meat suit.
Meat suit. I heard me too. And I was like, wait, wait, wait. That's a different meat suit problem.
Yeah, no, 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 no.
Oh, Jesus.
Anywho's. Okay, wait. Can we do like a quick manifestation for dummies? I feel like this whole episode is a manifestation for dummies, but like
Yeah.
talk about like
I'll give the order from top to tail again, kind
yeah,
of
go
in a
ahead.
basic way. Do a lot of work to understand what you want for your life, what really matters to you, like what your goals, morals, and values are. And in a way that even me saying that is like, I don't want you to ever look towards someone else for that. I don't want you to compare. I don't want you to think about the life you want to like it literally just who you are as a person, what's important to you, what's meaningful to you. It'll be different for everyone and really do a lot of work on understanding yourself. Then the next piece is like identifying those goals and then working on yourself to be the best version of yourself. Learning your patterns, working through old blocks, limiting beliefs, self worth stuff, doing all the mental health work. Then it's also reminding our brain through examples that there's possibilities of what we want out there for us. So whether it's through people or stories or books or even movies, like it doesn't even have to be real life, except for it's a lot more helpful. I find it works a lot easier if it's real
Mhm.
life.
Yeah, I agree.
But just surrounding yourself with things and stories and people that you see a bit of yourself in, that's really important because it kind of shows that to your brain a little bit more to expand your mind to believe that it's possible for yourself. And then it's practicing. And then the one, I will say, the one last bit that is a little bit woo woo, you do have to fucking trust and surrender. You
Facts.
really do. And it's like release the attachment to the outcome,
Mhm.
but the deeper version of that is like really doing that with confidence because you deeply fundamentally believe, not to be Gabby Bernstein, but that the universe has your back. Like you fundamentally believe that like your being here and your existing on this world is for a meaning to help support you. And
Mhm.
if you can't get there, then we got to do a lot. Then I would suggest going to a therapist and like doing some work and figuring out like what you think the world is and why and kind of getting philosophical about it. But you really do have to like believe in the goodness of the universe and really believe that the universe is here to support you. Because like, unless you can deeply believe that and then trust that in part of this process, you're going to have, it's like, that's like the kind of
It
energetics
gets
piece. Like you feel
yeah.
that resistance enough to, where it's not going to help you kind of like break through to in that same way.
Mhm. That was
Was
beautifully
that,
said.
was that basic enough?
That was basic, that was clear.
Also, this comes out next week. So I can promo this. Saturday. Wait, shit. Is it Friday or Saturday? Okay, I'll find out. But Friday or Saturday, June 24th or 25th. So by the time this comes out in like 2 weeks ish,
Mhm.
I will be giving a little talk about manifestation and
Mm.
hosting a journaling session with our good friend of the pod, Sophia Kelly. Gabby will be there.
Yay.
Sophia will be there. I'll be there. We're literally going to like unhash this entire episode and then like do like journal all together and talk about it.
Oh my god, I think my sister's gonna be in town that weekend.
Oh my God, Issa can
Wait, so you'll
come.
be in LA? I don't have to drive to you?
I'll be, oh yeah. Oh my gosh, we forgot. Yeah, I'll be in LA, baby.
Gorgeous.
But so if anyone wants to come to that, I will link. tickets for that below. It's going to be at the beautiful Fig and Oak, which Gabby and I, it's a vintage showroom that Gabby and I both have pieces from in our home. That's like our favorite
Oh
pieces
my God,
ever.
how fun.
Isn't that going to be so
I didn't
fun?
realize it was going to be so soon.
Oh, I know. I don't think I even told you that, but yeah, you're on the list, by the way.
She was like, and you're coming, FYI.
And by the way, I already signed you up. You're coming and you're on the deck. So forgot to tell you.
What picture did you use? That's my only question.
I didn't even pick it. Someone else did, but it was cute, I think. I think it was just.
Who's someone
I'll
else?
check and send it to you. Samantha from Fig and Oak.
Oh.
Yeah.
Love her.
Anyway, if this was interesting to you and you're in the LA area and want to like unhash it more or put some of this shit into practice and talk about it with us in person, come through.
Let's just like fucking manifest and hold hands, yeah?
Exactly. Grow up and manifest. Isn't that our new phrase?
Grow up and fucking manifest, bitch.
Grow up and fucking manifest.
It feels like no one wants to manifest these days.
Yeah.
Get your ass up and manifest. My best advice for a woman in business.
Oh my God. Can that be our new intro?
Sure.
You know how Chris Clemens does get your ass up and join my Patreon? It's like get your ass up and manifest. It's just
I feel
our
like
Patreon.
one, yeah, I feel like no one wants to manifest these days. Get
God,
your fucking
that's
ass up
funny.
and manifest.
Let us know if this was helpful. And if you want us to like
Fucking was
debunk or
helpful for me.
unpack other fun activities.
Hopefully me squeezing a stress ball the entire time was not distracting.
It made me really want mine. I miss my old ones. I used to have ones from my old jobs.
I got this from the Mayfair thing.
Oh, I totally forgot to take one.
All right, bye.
Bye. That was gorgeous.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the Thoughts Mayberry podcast every Monday.